the back, and I ran into a couple people. You might know them. They wanted to be introduced in this order. Zoie Palmer and Melissa O'Neill. It's a good sign when you see a whole bunch of camera phones and just cameras. There you go. What's the Instagram? What is that? So, I'm not gonna lie, I did Instagram stalk you last night. Like, stalking in a good way.
Who, me?
Yeah. And because you have this, I don't really do stories, like you have that interesting, I guess, story that you're posting. And like the funny thing about stories is that it gives you like 10 seconds, something like that.
Yeah.
Are you on?
I actually just started Instagram, but there's a couple of accounts that are not me.
Should we shut them down?
I don't know.
There's a lot of Zoie Palmer Instagram accounts.
But I did start one recently, and I have about 6 followers.
Can we say the name? You want to say the name, or should we let them just?
Yeah, you just have to figure that
All right.
out.
We'll have like a blue star next to it.
I don't know, maybe.
So Melissa, in these like 15-second stories that I was telling you, which I always find hilarious, because it's like you start a story, and then you're like, oh wait, yeah. You had like a sort of an interesting like, hey, welcome to DC. Would you mind telling it, or can I tell it? No.
Yeah, so essentially I was in a mad dash to get to my hotel room because I desperately needed to use the bathroom. I drank a lot of water on the flight, and I'm in a panic trying to get to my door, and I'm like smashing my key card against the door, like work. And I open up the door, and there is a handsome, tall man sitting like prone in the back chair with his iPad, just like, oh hi. And I scream and I slam the door closed. Naturally, because if there's a man in your hotel room that you weren't expecting, you turn the other way. And I heard him apologizing profusely inside the room. And I was like, what are you doing in here? And like dating my dance at the same time, because I just really need to go. And he said that he was checking the room. But I had already checked in the night before. I know, all of your perplexed faces are totally correct. Like, he should not have been in there at all. And he had nothing to say, only that he was sorry and that he wanted to make sure the room was okay, and he was confused as to why there was no one there. I was confused as to why he was there, and could he please leave? And that's my welcome to Washington.
There was no man in my hotel room, and I wanted
I guess like you still have one night. Someone can make that happen.
If one of you could find your way to my
we've got some fingers.
You gotta watch out. He's wearing a glove. So I'm thinking, is this the first time you guys have been in DC, or have you been here before?
I've not been here before, have you? First time. No.
First time. Have you tried to like sneak away like before or after the convention to be like, I want to see Lincoln, or I want to like
get back in Trump?
Trump?
If we're going to see anything, we might see it tonight.
Oh yes.
Yeah.
I highly recommend. I mean, I prefer DC at nighttime. It seems like a little more romantic than that. I'm not saying
To what?
like I like desolate areas. Like I like desolate. Like, oh, there's no one here. And, like,
This is so romantic, we're still
well,
It's just me and that cactus.
yes. There's like more romantic than the last 2 people on Earth.
It really depends who the two of them
That's a
are.
good point. That's a good point. I'd like to know how was the first 2 meeting with you two? Like when you first met, did you already hear?
weird segue.
Yes.
Truly romantic. So how did you and Zoie meet?
How did we meet?
I remember.
I remember.
Are you gonna?
No.
Should I?
Oh.
Do you remember? No, you tell it. I've already told the story.
Have you? What, in front of a pile of people?
Yeah, I did.
Oh, okay.
I said I've already told a story.
Oh, just a general story.
Yeah, so you tell a personal.
Well, we met at the audition for Dark Matter, actually. And I said, break a leg. And she said, no, you break a leg. And then the two of us did, and here we are.
That is not how it I didn't watch it enough to like. I think my brain was just so confused and like crisscrossed in my brain because how on earth could I possibly like be in an audition with like somebody that I've been watching on television? So when I saw her, I was like, oh my god, it's. Oh my god, I feel like I've known you from somewhere. Anyways, and she's like, and she's like getting ready for her audition. She's going in next, and she's like trying to focus. And I definitely remember that moment. And I remember her, she looked very pretty. There it is. That's how we met.
Melissa, on the other hand, has a really hard time with pretty. Really struggles in the last part. Like, could she literally be any prettier?
Stop it!
This is the best panel ever. That is a romantic story. So is that really how it happens? Did she like I guess unknowingly, like, I don't know, that's like the reverse fan thing. You go, but you didn't know. It's sort of like, I'm a fan, but I don't really know.
I don't know. There are moments I blur out. If I'm ever on a carpet, like a red carpet of any kind, I have literally no idea what happened from the minute I step on until the second I step off. It's a full blur. And auditions are similarly a blur. So I do totally remember that now that you bring it up, but it's all a mash because auditions are so ridiculous and weird and stressful, and you're seeing all of these other actors who you know from different shows. Like there's they do nationwide searches for series roles, and you're always bumping into other people that you've been watching on television, so it's always a bit strange. It's a bit like when you're in the green room at these conventions. There you are with Will Wheaton and like Ron Perlman. You're like, hello, it's normal, okay. So auditions are a bit like that. It's a bit of a blur, but
yeah.
So you guys have been doing so many conventions. What was like the most, I don't know, the biggest fan girl moment that you've had so far? That you were legit like, I'm in the same room as Lou Ferrigno or something. I don't know.
I sort of had one today, but probably not for the reason that other people at this convention had it. So what I mean is, I saw David Tennant in the green room, but I loved him on Broadchurch. I have no idea about Doctor Who or anything else. I'm sure it's a good show, but I haven't really seen it. But he was amazing on Broadchurch, and that's actually So I was like, oh, that's the guy who saw the thing.
Did you talk to him?
No, because he was trying to have his food, and I have a thing about when people are eating, you let them be.
What about you, Melissa?
I guess the most recent one would have happened today, actually, in the lunchroom, because I didn't realize until they were all assembled at the same time. But years and years ago, hours, probably days of my life were being eaten by this game called Second Life. And I stumbled, and don't say yes to that. You shouldn't eat days of your life. It's a fun game, but it shouldn't eat days of your life. Anyways, and I happened upon this YouTube series called The Guild. I binged on it, and then I was sitting there, and they were all kind of assembled, but it's been a few years since that initial first season, and I slowly started taking them all in. I was like, wow, they look familiar. Oh my god! Instantly transported to like 20-year-old me. So that was pretty cool.
I think that's really good. It's good to break the ice or something like that.
No, I didn't talk to them. I was way too shy. I'm also paper eating, and I've gone to Zoe School of Manners.
So did you guys both have this experience at the same time? You're like, oh, I see him. I see him. Like you're like having.
I know. I think I was having my own one by myself.
That sounds really romantic.
Yeah. I'm having a moment is generally by myself. There's a good chance a lot of those sorts of things will come out of this panel.
This is not PG.
So wait, do we have kids? Little kids? Are you a little kid?
She's like, I'm right here.
Are you really have a sign for us? Or is that just a blank piece of paper? Or is that just a poster or something? Oh, yeah.
So has most people here started the first few episodes of season 3 of Dark Matter? How are we doing so far? 3 eps in? Is it good? Are we doing okay?
That's a good segue, because it is that time. Our friend Annie has a question. Annie, take a stand. And if you guys have a question, just line up behind her next to the freaking mic.
Yeah, come on up. If you guys have questions, we want to answer them.
Do they need to hold them?
You might want to hold on to the mic.
Yeah, rock's rocking.
Rocking or rocking.
So, just like everything else, if you have a question, say your name and question. We know that you're Annie.
I'm really interested in the relationship with Tu and the android and how they interconnected to create the android. Heard him, so I don't know if Jim said to find out more about that in season 3.
The creation.
The creation.
Yes, there is a bit of a creation story.
It feels, you know what? It would be a terrible, terrible spoiler to even hint at it, but it's a bit of a chicken-egg situation. Yeah. There is a huge reveal though, and it was very surprising. Yeah.
So we're just going to move this line a little bit because nobody back there can see when everybody's
Oh.
standing up. So we're going to have everybody just come.
You have to sit down if you're not
Go
first
that
in
way.
line.
Yeah.
Right on the floor.
Just
Sit
come
down.
around here. Come around here, and then everybody else who just, if you could go around that way.
we're just gonna wrap it around that way?
Yep, around that way, then everybody can see.
My question's for Zoe.
What's your name?
My name's Chris. To what degree, if any, was your portrayal of the android influenced by Brent Spiner's portrayal of Data in Star Trek: The Next Generation?
That's a great question. I get it quite a bit.
Oh.
I didn't watch Star Trek. Of course, I know who Data is. Obviously, I mean, I'd have to live under a rock, but I couldn't possibly try to portray a character on somebody as substantial and infamous as that character. It was obviously kind of he's the most famous android, I think. Was he an android? Is that what he was? Was he an android? Yeah. No, but he's obviously the most famous one, and so no, I didn't do anything purposefully to try to do what he did. No. Because I think it would have just been a mistake, and I think it would have painted me in a corner, and I really wanted to try to just find my own way to making that character. And obviously, because it's an android, there was only so many places. There would, of course, be similarities, I guess is what I'm saying, but no, I didn't with any intention.
You might just make him the second.
Oh, I don't know about that. Easy.
Don't say that, Prince. Thank you.
Hi, one of the things that I've noticed with the show is there's this very large focus on identity and people shedding identity and taking up identity and stuff like that. And so I'd like a larger comment about that in general from Melissa. But I specifically wanted to ask Zoe about the physical aspect of android and human android that you play in the series. And was that something you were directed to do, or was this something that you wanted to focus on to try to differentiate the two characters?
They really let me do sort of approach that character however I did, and I think that she's evolved over the course of the first season and second season, and I still sort of play with how to play her, and I'm not sure that that'll ever go away. Like, I don't feel like I'll ever just totally land and say this is her. In terms of the physicality, I have much better posture than I've ever had. But the human android has always been a struggle, and I've talked about this before, but just because I don't have a context for her other than she is our android without androidisms. So she's not a person, she's not a person with a story or with relatives or with a history so it's always a bit of a challenge to figure out how to play her because I don't know who she is. But of course it's a lot more relaxed. It's really
Maybe there'll be a chance for you to explore it as the show goes forward.
Yeah, hopefully, yeah. But you wanted to talk a little bit about...
I was wanting everybody to comment more on the sense of identity and shedding it, because I know your character sort of has the opportunity to gain her identity back and chooses not to.
I think perhaps a good leaning, like to start with that, is what actually happens near the end of the second season when 4 decides to integrate Rio, you know, and we see what ends up happening with that. Actually, no. Aside from that, we enter into the world of dark matter with these people who have no idea who they are, but they are surrounded by a world of people and situations that do remember who they were and are treating them like that. And she knows that that's not the environment that she wants to continue down. She knows that whatever that was, we should, because we can, choose to take the other path. I don't think that she ever would decide to reintegrate those memories, especially like that gets reinforced after seeing what happens with Rio. Whoever they were not good, and I think that Tu wants to do the best that she can in each situation, despite the times that she fails and all of the ways that her programming tends to come up. But Zoe's character actually has a lot of really interesting stuff that's coming up with regards to identity in this season. Can you? I don't know. We
sure
kind of
do.
talk about it. A little bit, can't we? Like with regards to what that
We'll
explores.
still leave this room, right?
For all of these
No
recording
spoilers.
items. Yeah,
Thank
we
you.
can certainly delve into that, yeah.
Thanks.
A quick cut into, when you guys were auditioning, did you audition all for did you know what role you're going for, or did you know you were going to be Android? You know what I mean, was it?
Yeah?
Oh, so it wasn't like, oh, Melissa, you tried Android, or you tried.
You're not generally throwing stuff at the wall in an audition. Like, you generally are auditioning for a particular character, typically, yeah.
Cool.
Hi, I just have a quick fun question. Basically, if your character walked into a room, what would your theme song be every time you walked into a room?
Well, this is hard. I'm thinking about my theme song. That's a hard one.
Regrets, I've had a few.
What would be yours?
Well, there's a song called Machine that I heard recently. I feel like that's pretty appropriate. I'll have to find it for you before the...
Maybe we'll come back to that one.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's a good one. Good question.
Also, say your name before your question. Let's know who you are, too.
Hi, I'm Rivka.
Hey.
Okay, I love the show, and you know everybody has lost their memories. They don't really know who they are, but they, you know, in your own life, you know, there's these moments of deja vu where you have this like vivid moment where all of a sudden it locks in, and it seems like a time that's repeated itself. Have you ever had? Let's see, what's the strangest moment of deja vu you've ever had in real life?
I have them a lot. I'm pretty sure I'm psychic. Don't laugh. I'm being totally serious. You're like,
You're pretty sure you're what?
I think I'm psychic. I think I have some. Yeah, girl, I
What's
see
the
you.
Powerball
She's like,
number?
yes. Girl, I get you. No, I think the weirdest one, deja vu, I had was I was 14 and I was looking out. I was standing on the back porch and I was looking out at the alleyway, and I remember seeing a truck come around the corner, and there were these patio lanterns and stuff like that. And it was the moments of deja vu that I have are of no consequence. It's minutia, it's nothing. And I remember as a little kid having a dream of that truck and the lanterns, and I had a little doodle, and it's in a journal of mine. And I remember being like 15 or 14 and being like, what? That looks weird. And I went back to my journal and I had it. Like, it was really bizarre. Yeah, anyways, that's a moment of weird deja vu.
I don't know. I mean, I never remember them because they're always like weird moments. Of like someone turns on a light switch and I'm like, oh, I've seen that.
Thank you for your question.
Lenetra, hi. Thank you for my girl power photo, by the way. I had actually one question and then one came to mind. But first, what did you audition with? What was your audition scene, if you can remember, and how well did you do? And did you think you were going to get a call back? But another one is, Melissa, do they make you wear those tight pants? Like, did you fight against it for sweats or something?
Girl.
I'm just saying, it looks rough.
it up because I'm like, I feel like us thick thigh sisters, like we get it. When we see us wearing like thick pants, we're like, oh my god, like why are they making me do that? No, I don't fight them. They're stretchy. If it makes you feel any better, if it engages your sympathy cord, they're stretchy. I can do squats like very comfortably in them. I can kick my leg pretty high. What was the first
do it.
question? Yeah. What's your first question then? You're welcome.
She's wearing jeans too.
What was the first question?
Audition scene. And
I do. Do you remember yours? Or
Not
not?
a clue. No
The audition scene, there were two, and it was meant to like show contrast. So the first one was that first scene with one, where I'm like, nobody stepped up or something like that, and get angry with him. And then the other scene was the scene with 5. I don't even remember what we were. I was listening to her talk about killing people or something like that in that first episode. They were both from the first episode, but one was like a listening, maternal type of energy scene, and then the other one was an assertive, powerful scene. Yeah.
Not a clue. Something about a spaceship.
I like Melissa's a psychic, and then Zoe's like, I just want to block it out.
I'm whatever the opposite of a psychic is.
My name's Virginia, and this is a question for Zoe. How in the world do you manage not to blink for long periods of time? I'm very impressive.
I think it's an actual muscle that I've started to work on. Because, there's little tricks, like people think that you should blink really hard before you stay open really long. I don't know what I'm saying.
So they fall.
There you go. Write that somewhere. It's actually better if you just relax your eyes. And if I don't think about it, like if I start to think about the fact that I'm not blinking, it's a bit like holding your breath, and then you start to think about the fact that you're holding your breath and panic. If I don't think about it, I can usually do it for a good while.
Can we time you right now?
I have
Yes.
Please, come on.
Or staring contest.
I do blink as the android, but what I've sort of figured out over the 3 seasons is that I pick moments to not blink. It depends on the scene. So if it's a really intense scene where I'm kind of trying to convey something important to somebody, that's generally the moment that I won't blink. But if I'm just saying something off cuff to another character, I'll blink in that. So it's a bit scene dependent.
Cool, thank you.
Yeah.
So Dark Matter is a...
Which team?
I'm Joe.
Hi, Joe.
Dark Matter is a series that deals a lot with lost memories and hidden origins. Was there any major incidents in which the writers or directors hid information about your character that you yourself would learn later in the season?
Yeah, they wouldn't. In the first season, when we got our first 6 scripts, Joe, Paul, and I went out for dinner, the writers of the show, and I was like, guys, I think that I am a robot. And here's the thing, if I am a robot, I need to know that I'm a robot, so that I layer in all the things, and they were like, you don't need to know if you're a robot. And I was like, I think I do, and they really fought me on it. And I think that's because Joe and Paul, like the whole thing is like those characters don't know, and it shouldn't matter, because you're playing whatever the truth is in that specific moment. So yeah, I think they're a little bit method as writers. They like to keep us in the dark so that we aren't acting we don't know. We genuinely don't have a clue. And it's great. What about you? Have things been kept from you?
No, but I mean, my character's a little bit different, but I do kind of like the idea that the actor kind of should only know what they absolutely need to know.
Mm-hmm.
And I've struggled with that over different characters in my career. But I do remember Al Pacino doing sort of a documentary on the Shakespeare play Richard III called Looking for Richard. And I was a theater student at the time, so this is a bit ago, but I remember him saying, he said, I don't need to know what's going on with everyone else. I don't need to know what I'm going to be doing in the next scene. I don't need to know. And I was like, you need to know everything. How do you create a character unless you know? And I really remembered that, and it has allowed me to kind of let go a little bit and try to stay in the moment of a scene, because that's how life generally happens anyway. We don't always know. So there are times where it really is relevant to know, because if your character has the information and it's other people that are finding out, then you do need that information. But oftentimes I think we need more than we do, and it's great to kind of just be in the scene and play with whatever's happening. So anyway, I've had that in my career for sure.
Thank you.
Hello, I'm Kayla. And so I was just wondering, since there are so many different types of scenes that you guys film, what was your least favorite or your favorite scene to film?
I just want to tell you that your eye makeup is running a bit. Sometimes use Vichy or
Anyway, I just didn't want you to ask
nobody to tell you.
trying to be a friend.
No, really, what was the
Oh.
question again?
What was your
This is
favorite?
what happens. Zoe has like a comment, and then she goes, and Amisha. What was that? Me too.
What was your favorite or least favorite scene to do?
I should probably say something including Zoe, right?
I'm right here.
It's okay, we're all friends.
But not something from the third season, so you don't know what we're talking about.
Right.
Because there are a lot of like recent favorites, but they are from the third season and you haven't seen it.
You haven't seen that.
A space scene. Aren't they?
So the show is set in space.
That's what it's called, Tony.
Do you have
Favorite scene? I mean, I don't know. A favorite scene. Anything.
I have a favorite scene.
Give her a chance.
I thought, okay, first of all, we went at the same time.
Yeah. Back off.
Do I have to be in it?
No, you're not in it.
Okay. That's not my favorite scene anymore. No, but my favorite scene, I think, was the one where Jodelle is sitting on the bridge, cross-legged and looking up at the screen, and the android sits down beside her, cross-legged, and like mimics her, and they have a conversation, and it was just really sweet, and they both look like little kids.
Yeah, I like that scene too.
Yeah, I like that scene a lot, actually. That's one of my favorites.
Not what I was thinking of, but it was good. It was a little silence. And it was the first one I thought of.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah, I like
Yeah,
that.
I thought of it first, but there was the other scene. The other scene I like, and it's not so much about the scene, but it's more about where the android is in the journey of androiding, which is the scene with Victor where they kiss. Because it was like, I felt a little bit like I sort of imagined, it's a little bit silly, but like Sleeping Beauty, or just this idea that something happened in that moment that almost, I felt like when we were shooting it kind of filled her up for a moment, and she kind of walks away and has this little beat of like, he kissed me, and then she goes back into like, I need to get back to the ship, and there's things to do with mirrors to avoid and whatever. But that moment was just like sort of one of the first moments that we see her recognizing that something else is going on with her and not knowing whether it's a glitch or something that could be cool. And so it wasn't so much the fact that they kissed, but what that moment meant for her. Yeah.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Alexandra.
Hi.
I'm kicking things. I'm possibly breaking things. My question is for Zoe. How does it feel from being on Lost Girl, where you are like one of the only humans, being on Dark Matter and being one of the only non-humans?
Well, I clearly have some sort of a problem where I feel like an outsider in the world. And that manifested in my work. But I don't know, yeah, it's a funny thing that sort of happened, but I loved playing Lauren and I loved playing the android, and I do love kind of the idea of being, because I think even the coolest person in high school, I think feels like they're not the coolest person in high school, like if you really get them privately and talk to them, even though they've got the best hair and the best outfit and whatever. And I think every person can relate to this idea that maybe they're that we're in a room. I like to think that I'm always in a room of not normals. And we're all the same, and we're all just trying to figure out life, and the android is trying to figure out life, and so is Lauren, and I think so is Tu, and I think so are we all, you know? I think we're all a little glitchy and all a little weird, and it's that, I think, that can, I hope, bring us all together as humans, you know? That it doesn't matter what color you are, how high, tall you are, how high, that's how I word it. that we are just a group of people doing our best to get through each day, you know? And I think that's what the android is doing in those characters. So I think I am drawn a little bit to those types of characters for sure.
Hi, my name is Nick.
Hi.
So this is kind of for both of you. Do you feel like, based on the stuff that you guys have done in the past, the characters not having the memories makes the emotions that they do have more intense for the characters?
Say that one more time.
So like, thinking of like the things that you've done in the past, and since most of the cast, this is a very unique show, and that almost all of the cast is amnesiac. Do you feel like that brings the emotions that they feel more to the front than they would say in a character that knows everything about themselves?
I mean, I'm not sure they would know the difference because they don't have memory of what it would have been like to feel those things for the first time. When you ask that, I think of the fight that happened in the casino. The first time that Tu kind of gets into this huge brawl and like just destroys. She kills like 5 dudes in like 30 seconds. Weird stuff.
Welcome to DC.
But yeah, I guess it makes me think of that. Like it happened and it was like an automatic response, and she doesn't understand why or how it happened, and that's just like pre-programming. It was almost muscle memory. Like synapses were just firing off of the stimulus that was happening.
So it feels more raw.
Yeah, and I think there's a, like, if anything, there's a perplexement about the entire thing. Like, why did I feel that all of a sudden? It's a foreign body to have wiring that's in your brain that you don't remember. You know what I mean? If that makes sense. Yeah. Amnesiac android? Amnesiac Zoie, I mean?
Yeah. I'm having all kinds of emotions and they're really big. I just want to take a second to do a big shout out to the wonderful people doing sign language for us. There was a lady up here earlier, and thank you very much for doing that. And you know, it's very much appreciated. It's a very cool skill that I don't possess, so thank you.
Hi, my name is Brittany, and my question is about the environment you guys are acting in the sets, since it is in space and it's something very different than we're used to. Have you found anything interesting or unusual on any of the sets that surprised you? Like any weird features of a ship or something?
I don't know. I was saying to Melissa just the other day that it takes a toll being on a set that's that dark for as long as we're on set. We shoot for almost 6 months, and we are in the dark in that sort of space for the, you know, we get there and it's dark outside, and when we wrap, it's dark outside, and it's dark inside. So it's about 6 months of very little sunlight, and it's interesting. We've noticed that shooting in that environment sort of becomes a tiny bit oppressive sometimes. It's a bit, we don't realize because it's like the water you're swimming in, you don't even know that it's boiling a bit, you know? It's a little bit like a boat water.
The effects are noticeable. They certainly are, especially in the 3rd season. It's like you come out and all of a sudden it's spring and you're enjoying the light. Like, God, I feel amazing. Like, this is amazing. What's happening? Like, I feel so good.
Yeah.
And it's because, you know, you're not getting your vitamin D a lot of the time. But outside of that, it's a friggin' blast. Like,
Yeah, it's great.
It's a full build spaceship that happens on one set. We've got 2 studios. In the one studio, we've got everything that's kind of contained on the Raza, and in the other studio, we've got the Marauder set and the Ishida Cruiser, and anytime you see some really cool spots that aren't obviously buildings in real life, you know, like that's all built by our amazing set designer.
And boy, are they amazing.
They're
Our
phenomenal.
set design team is extraordinary.
Yeah. And this season, we've got some really, really crazy sets. There'd be times when I'd come on to that second studio space, and I was just like, what is this place? It's so cool. And it just goes right up to the sky.
She just goes right into that voice.
Yeah, it's cool.
That's cool. I can totally relate to that because I'm a software engineer and work in a room with no windows, so in the
Right.
winter when you get
Yeah.
to work and it's dark, yeah, and you leave after it's dark, you get depressed, and that's kind of me.
So we're all depressed as well.
We're so Thank you.
Hi, I'm Malcolm. And I was wondering what your D&D characters would be.
Sounds like. Okay, can you at least give us a rundown of the quick archetypes so we can do like an ABC kind of thing?
All right, so there's bard, there's barbarian, there's ranger, there's rogue, there's paladin, there's sorcerer, there's warlock, there's wizard. Am I forgetting anything?
Is Smurf Vector? Is she in it?
Paladin, fighter. I'm sorry, I forgot fighter.
I've never played Dungeons and Dragons.
Would Android be the druid? Would that make sense? Or the sorcerer? No. I want to be a wizard. I know that she's probably a fighter, but like I want magic, so like give me that.
Out of your face. I want to be a wizard.
I want to be a wizard. Give me the hat.
I don't know the game. I don't know anything about it. But Smurfy.
Alrighty, class. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good question.
Hi, I'm Matt. So one of the concepts that dark matter has addressed is the idea of a multiverse or parallel universes, which is thus far in, according to evidence, a fantasy. But it is a fantasy that scientists take very, very seriously due to their desire to rectify issues with string theory. Do you ever think about whether these sorts of things could be real as due to your work on the show? Like, do you believe in a multiverse?
Yes.
I love the idea that that's possible. Yeah.
Everything about quantum physics is like it's all about probability weights, right? We can't accurately measure a damn thing in anything that we see. Everything is a probability, and even that is based off of the tool that we're using to observe the probability waves with. So to claim that there absolutely isn't or there absolutely is a probability, and for the nerds out there, y'all know what I'm stepping in, you can smell it. But if you don't, like pick up a book and check it out, because it's really interesting. It trips me out because the math is hard to wrap my head around, but absolutely, I think that's, humans are constantly, we're so interested in self. We study self in every way that we possibly can. This man was amazing. Let's go back in time and rewrite history and just look at that person. And it's not all about us. There's so much else going on. So absolutely, I think there's more. Yeah.
Thank you.
Cheers.
Hi, I'm Jessie. I was just wondering if you or the other actors have ever ad-libbed or gone off script, and if there's a scene that really sticks out. Nothing?
Zoe's always on script.
Occasionally, I'll go to Joe Malazzi, the creator, and sort of play with the scene. Generally, I don't ad-lib on set with my character because it's pretty tough to do that with her. Every once in a while, it's a bit of a quirky scene, but it's hard for me to ad-lib. I generally don't know what I'm talking about.
So, that's Anthony. Anthony ad-libs every scene. Every single scene. I spend most of my time in ADR because of all of the stuff he's at.
Plays
Yes, that's right. He plays Boone, Max Boone. Yeah, he does all of the ad-libbing. I don't think anyone else really does. Not too much. Everyone else stays stays to the course. Yeah.
And this is my first panel, so thanks for making it so great.
Oh, thanks for coming.
So you got the last two. Yeah, the last two.
Actually, relatively short. First off, since this is your first time in DC, I would definitely recommend checking out the tidal basin at night because all the monuments are lit up. So you can either walk it or there's like a cruise thing you can do if you want to. So depending on your preference. So I love dark matter for the fact that it's filled with a lot of bad, can you use that one word, women who like kick butt. Do you have a tendency to go through eye candy male actors? Kind of like a Steven Seagal movie in the 90s with his wives. Will season 3 have any other like male candy male eye candy with one for the Dr. No Doctor?
Oh, eye candy.
Eye
Sorry.
candy. I know.
I spelled it and I was like, what's eye candy?
It's a new Apple product.
Do we have? Are you asking if there's any hot men in season 3?
It's okay, we're watching these.
We got through it. Jane, are there? Yeah. Whoa, don't. Okay, sorry, I made a face and I was like, and then you brought attention to the face. Oh, wait a minute. Did you watch the last episode on Friday?
No, it's not.
Oh, well then you may have missed some nice eye candy. His name is Terrence.
Hello, my name is Jazz. I have a question for both of you. How does it feel to be in roles that actually depict very strong women, as opposed to even shows 15, 20 years ago when you guys were probably aspiring in your careers and considering your careers where there weren't that very many roles of women who were strong leads?
I mean, I think what's kind of cool now is that what's lovely about the time we're living in is that it's becoming sort of typical. And, you know, I've only been on the planet for so long, and in my time, certainly as an actor, that's becoming more and more just sort of the norm, I think, where you're playing women that are akin to any other character on the show. And so I think it's lovely that perhaps we're in a time period. I don't think it's perfect. I don't think we're there yet with any real sort of issue on our planet, whatever kind of sort of equality issues that are still in need of attention. We're not there, but I certainly think we're more there than we've ever been. And change is very slow, excruciatingly slow sometimes on all topics. But we are at a time where I think people's minds are changing. I think there's been so many roles for men and women over the years, and I think it's been very difficult, I think, for men to also figure out what their role now is, because it's changed for them too. And we always look at what that means to women, but I think it's important to look at what that means to all of us, right? Because we're all here doing this sort of evolution together. But I think we're headed in the right direction in a real way, and I think we're in a good place. Well said.
I know that you're doing Instagram, Melissa, you're rocking Instagram, but by any chance, do you guys have any benefit to take a selfie with this whole entire crowd?
Dare. Let's do it.
All right, so students, we have. Everyone, stand up. Try to get it.